former Oklahoma State standout and major leaguer Mickey Tettleton, and now we can include a member of the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, inducted Monday night. Congratulations, Mick.
Oh, thank you. It was quite a thrill. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but to go into the class that I went in with, when I look at all those guys' career, unfortunately got to go in with another Oklahoma State guy with Kendall Cross. It was a phenomenal night and something that kind of put the icing on the cake for me.
You're not exactly an emotional guy, but I would have liked to have been there just to see, when you were announced, because this is a big deal. I may mention this in the second hour. When you look at the state of Oklahoma per capita, all the great players, males, females, major leagues, all the way up, we've had a lot of people who have created a national buzz, if you will, and deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it was really special for me because, one, TH was there, Tom Holliday.
Right.
And, those guys meant so much to me in my career. And, for him to be there, and actually he was the one that they interviewed as far as the highlight film beforehand. And it was really cool. I wasn't as emotional as I thought I was going to be until I got to my family. And then it was that part, always talking about them, is extremely difficult, and how proud I am of all my kids. And my wife especially, who's a breast cancer survivor, and everything that she's been through. So I was fine till I got to them, and then we started getting teary-eyed then and emotional. But it was just a great night, and one that I'll always remember. And like I said, the class that I was fortunate enough to go in with. And you look at people like Bob Stoops and Patty Gasso and Will Shields, an NFL Hall of Famer, Coach Henson, Mike Moore, who Mike and I had grown up playing against one another forever, it seemed like. It was just something that was really special, and I'll always remember it.
You look at and I have done this, and it still amazes me when you look at the people who are in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. We tend to, when you're working around this all the time, you tend to take these people for granted, and that's probably not the right term. But we're so used to the greatness that each individual brings to their particular sport that you think it's par for the course. But it isn't when you start comparing him to the other people in their field.
Well, no, and there were some guys that they introduced, guys that had gone, before us, been inducted before us. I mean, guys like Barry Switzer was there, Jason White was there, one of the Selman brothers was there. You look at Clendon Thomas, he was there, and just guys that just the list goes on and on. Steve Zabel, a guy that was an NFL Hall of Famer, and then what he did at Oklahoma and stuff. So it's amazing. And when you look down the list of people that are already in it, it's just extremely humbling, and it's just a big time honor. And I think when we're all kids, and Mike Moore, probably said it best, and we both agree. I think when we were all kids throwing a tennis ball or golf ball off the back of the house, catching ground balls, none of us were ever thinking about that. We were just enjoying our sport. And the same thing went for when we grew up and went to college and went on and played professional baseball. We were just loving what we did, and stuff like this never crossed your mind. But, getting a chance to look back on it now and reflect on it now, like I said a while ago, it's the icing on the cake for me. The kid from Oklahoma and being able to go into your state Hall of Fame is pretty cool.
I'm glad you brought up Tom Holliday because he's been a key part in many, many lives of Oklahoma State baseball players over the years, over the decades. And he was for you. I mean, he's a guy that worked with you, brought you here, worked with you from the outfield to catcher and all those good things. And I'm glad he was there to enjoy it with you.
Yeah, no, I was with CH all summer, too, up in the Cape, up there coaching with him. And, we had a chance to reflect on a lot of stuff this summer. And he still thinks that I argued with him about going behind the plate, but I don't remember that. But, obviously, if I did, him and Coach Ward were definitely right, and I was wrong. But, he's still, affecting people in a way, with his son Josh and now Matt, on board at OSU. The Holiday name is just something that's very special with OSU baseball and Stillwater. And, hopefully one of these days Coach Holliday, I know Matt will be in there for sure. Matt's got a chance to be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But hopefully TH will have that same opportunity and can get in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, because I think he deserves it. I think he deserves, Gary Ward always got a lot of the credit, and deservedly so, but, TH was responsible for a lot of stuff as well.
How did that go this summer? Because that's not your first, you actually coach at OCC, but how did that go this summer with Tom at the Cape? You're dealing with a lot of talent up there on those teams, correct?
Oh, it was an absolute blast, and, good players can make you look like a really good coach in a hurry. But it was an absolute blast working with those kids and getting to know them. It's a level of baseball which I really enjoy. I love the teaching. I love the developing side of it. When kids get it, and they're calling you and telling you things. I'm still getting texts. I got a text yesterday from Huey Morrill that was up there just saying, "Hey, Mick, let's get together soon." And so, stuff like that to me is what it's all about, building relationships. Now, we won a lot, too, so don't get me wrong, that's extremely important. But being able to build a relationship and then learn, too. I sat back and I learned a lot of things, watching TH and how he handles players and stuff like that. So I don't think we're ever too old to learn something.
It had a great Oklahoma State flavor, the coaching staff, for sure. You mentioned TH yourself. I guess Wiss was up there, right? Randy Whistler. Did he go this year?
Yeah, Wiz was up there, and then we had Dennis Cook was our pitching coach.
Mm-hmm.
Cookie had pitched in the big leagues for 16 or 17 years, and we just had a lot of fun. It was a great staff. TH let us do our thing, and I think that's what made it even more fun. And like I said, we had a lot of talented kids, but you're still trying to teach them things that maybe they haven't heard before, even at some of the big schools that they've gone to. And when you've got guys that's never done much, like from an offensive standpoint, and you get kids like Ben Ramirez and Jamel O'Quinn from USC, and the next thing you know, they're on the All-Star team up there. It makes you feel good, knowing that you might have had a little bit of influence with people like that.
You might not have been privy to all the X's and O's of this, but maybe in a general way, can you tell us, because we're a long distance, and we hear shockingly 1 week Parker Scott's going to sign a contract with the Angels, and we're thinking, oh, man, here's another guy lost. Parker Scott probably figured into the Friday night plans, and then maybe 24 hours later, we find out that he didn't sign and had a change of heart. You might not have been close to that situation, but what went on there?
Well, I knew a little bit about it, and just talking with Parker, Parker's just trying to make the best decision for him. And, we were trying to support him with anything that, we could up there. It was just a little bit of I don't know if I really should be, telling everything that went on. I just know that he ended up not signing and is going to come back to OSU, and hopefully he'll be able to, get drafted again and move on after this year. But Parker's a great kid. He's got a lot of talent. He pitched extremely well up there. So he went up there and, kind of the saying was he made himself some money up there. So hopefully he'll be able to carry that into this next year and make himself some more money.
You had Parker. You mentioned Huey. Anybody else on the existing roster for Oklahoma State that played up there?
Well, Cade Cabanis came up there, and he was with us for about a month or so, and had to get back and take care of some class work. But Cade was really starting to come into his own, and what a great kid, what a phenomenal athlete. Probably the best college outfielder that I've ever seen. I mean, this kid is phenomenal, some of the stuff that he can do and throw, and he was really starting to find his swing with some of the stuff that we've done with him offensively. And I think that the sky's the limit for Cade. He is an incredible athlete, and I think once he figures out how good he is and relaxes and enjoys the game like he was doing, then he's going to be a phenomenal player. But I think the real spark plug that OSU people are really going to like, there's a kid named Caden Pokovich. He's from Edmond. He went to Kentucky, transferred out of there to Northern Florida State College or something like that at JUCO, and Josh and them got him, and we had him up there. He's a switch hitter that can play anywhere on the field. He's got pop, and he is just an absolute dirtbag, and I mean that in all all good. This kid is a gamer, and I think the OSU fan base is really going to enjoy watching this kid play.
Well, that's interesting. That's a little insight that I'm sure our fans enjoy there. Let's take it back closer to home now. We went over this the last time you and I talked, but you had great success here. You went to the College World Series, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but that was kind of an expected result during the 80s of the guys that came through here that was starting against this team in whatever it was, February, but we're going to end up playing that last game in Omaha, and that bar was set pretty high.
Well, there's no question. Unfortunately, I feel very fortunate that we were that first team that went back to Omaha, and unfortunately we got beat, in the finals by Arizona State, but we were able to be part of something and start something that Oklahoma State baseball is just it was a phenomenal time and a phenomenal era, and I think that what Josh and them are doing right now is establishing that same kind of mindset that they're there for championships, and that's what they play for. And I think when you look at what they've done and with the whole staff up there just trying to install that mindset, it's been incredible. And they came in and they had a great run last year. Just came up a little bit short down in Lubbock, but they're just a few swings away or a couple outs away from going back to Omaha. So it's been fun to watch. It really has. It's been, as an alumni, got an opportunity to come up one day and throw out a first pitch. Never felt more welcome, anywhere by Josh and his staff and the players than we did that day throwing out that first pitch. It was really cool. So I'm excited for OSU baseball, the future, and really excited to see this new stadium. This thing's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, it's every day it gets a little closer to being opened, and we're probably running a race to get that first game in there. It may be somewhere into the schedule, but we're going to get it open nonetheless. You liking this coaching thing? And when we talked to you last, you're venturing into that, and I think you still have plans. If you like the field, you'd like to move up a little bit as well.
Oh, I love it. I think that for me, it's come at a really good time too, because obviously you have to get the player out of you. It's different being on this side of it. You still have the mindset of a player, but now you're trying to teach kids how to play the game and present it to them in a way, that they can understand and be able to communicate with them. I think that's the thing that's so fascinating to me. It's building the relationships. Like I said, I still get texts from kids that were with us this summer, just saying hi, and it's so cool to me to have that. But it's like really a pitching staff. You've got to learn the personalities of all these kids and how to present things to them and what they understand and what they don't understand, and it's phenomenal to me. Now the thing that's tough is that it's out of your control when you get you're just standing there in the first base box or in the dugout. You can't hit or do anything like that for them. But when they do finally get it, or when you see pitchers that you talk about them with certain situations and you see it click for them, it's very rewarding. I didn't think that I would enjoy it as much as I do, but it has been everything plus so far, and I look forward to whatever the future holds.
This is a kind of generic question, but I always ask guys who've got good perspective, and certainly you do have the perspective to answer this. College baseball may be better than it's ever been in terms of quality and quantity.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that, and I think the credit to that is I think that you look at the pool of high school players of which the college people have to choose from. I mean, they're better athletes, and there's more of them, and there's more kids that are being taught certain things at a younger age, so when they come out, they're ready to play. And I think you look at, any mid-major can go out and find a couple of good arms, and they got a chance to beat one of these Power 5 conference teams in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can look at what happened to Oklahoma State this year with Wright State. They came in there and beat them on a Sunday afternoon. So I think that college baseball is in a great place. The only thing I wish I'd like to see them do is keep the draft till after the College World Series. Do it that first week after the College World Series. But other than that, I think college baseball. I would have liked to see the third assistant get hired. I think that would have been really important to college baseball, especially to the staffs and people to give them an opportunity. But I think it's in a great place. I think the notoriety that's getting not only nationally but locally with the games around here like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State being televised as much as they are, it's great, and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a good product that they're throwing out on the field. You got a bunch of kids that are just trying to further their careers.
It's always been such a love-hate relationship, I think, college baseball and the major leagues, and the draft maybe being the pinnacle of that love-hate relationship because colleges don't like it when it comes up. But the major leagues are trying to stock their roster with guys that get into the system right away. And for the most part, not everybody's in the postseason. So I could see both sides of the argument, but, it's a pull for college kids, no question, when their name comes up.
I think we were talking about this, Tom, and one day it's going to happen. It's going to be like these kids not playing in bowl games. There's going to be a kid get drafted that's going to get a lot of money presented to them, and they're not going to go to the College World Series.
Wow.
It's just a matter of time before it happens. And because you see it now with football, that these guys are not playing in bowl games because they don't want to get hurt. So I would not be surprised to see that happen one of these days. That's why I'd like to see the draft be after the College World Series.
Yeah, and I've had this, Gasparino, and Billy's on the administrative side on the Dodgers, and we seem to talk about this, Billy and I, at least once a year, about this very thing, because Billy's going to come down on a politically correct side, saying, well, we respect the college game, we scout them, and on. But I think he also understands that the timing of the draft really benefits MLB. That's who he works for. That's where the paycheck comes from. And
sure.
it is an interesting dynamic. It's the AAA, if you will, for Major League Baseball, and there's no way around that. I mean, kids who come out of college baseball high level now, they're not ready to play in the major leagues, but boy, they're sure closer to do it than they ever have been.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, you take a kid like Rocker, for example, from Vanderbilt, the big right-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid's got a chance to be at Vanderbilt for 2 more years, and he could be in the big leagues immediately. And, that type of talent just doesn't come along all the time. But I think with the way some of these programs are, the facilities that they have, the strength and conditioning, the diet, everything that these kids have available to them, when they come out of college, they're a lot more prepared to play the pro game. The only thing that gets them, and we could see it this summer, was they're not used to playing every day.
Yeah.
They run out of gas a little bit, so that's something that they're going to have to get used to, playing every day.
To take it back to the Cape Cod League, we had a caller and wanted me to ask you, how do you go about getting a job in the Cape Cod League? And I don't know if he's talking about Holiday being a head coach or an assistant coach, but how does that all come around?
Well, it was just mainly knowing TH, and most of the staffs up there, their head coaches have staffs and stuff, and just knowing TH and just talking to him and asking him if anything might be available. And, of course, he was very gracious to invite me and Wiz and Dennis Cook to go up there. Like I said, we had an absolute blast coaching those kids and watching them do their thing.
From a distance, you look at the teams that you played for, were drafted by. One of them is having a pretty good year, the Athletics. I think they may be under-radar team that's better than most people give them credit for, I think. But how about the Orioles, the hard times that they have fallen upon? That sting a little bit every time you look up and see them give up about 7 homers a game?
Yeah, and, now you've got, and unfortunately you see the incident like what happened in the dugout, I believe, this last week.
Yeah.
It's just, it's that time of year. Temperatures are getting a little hot, and, people have been with each other for every day for a long period of time. But it is sad to see that the Orioles and what they've done. Remember, I played on the Orioles team to start the year 0-23, but they were able to right the ship and put some things together. So hopefully they'll be able to rebound. And it's just a tough thing. You just got to be, I think anymore when you look at people, especially like the Yankees, it starts in the farm system, and you got to be able to go out and get good young players in your farm system, and then develop them the way you want to, and hopefully you can hang on to them.
We could throw another one of your teams in there as well, because Mercer's there now, but the Tigers are kind of faltering a bit, trying to get their feet on the ground. New stadium and all those good things. So, I mean, it shows you that unless you're a blue blood, so to speak, and you're there year in and year out, it's not that far from the penthouse to the outhouse in the major leagues.
No, not at all. And, you know, it's the rich keep getting richer. You know, every team that you look at every year, like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, you know, people like that. I mean, they just keep finding ways to win over and over, and that's why, you know, for people like Milwaukee to stick around as long as they have, what Tampa Bay was doing, you know, especially earlier in the year. I mean, it's remarkable, but you've got to be able to develop young players and then go out and put some nice pieces together with free agents, and you know, those teams that can afford to do that, they have found a way to do it, and you know, they're getting people in there that can help them coach these kids as well, so that helps out a lot.
We saw Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson always disagree on occasion in the dugout, and you've been in dugouts for a long, long time, so you probably weren't near as alarmed when you saw was it Chris Davis and the manager go at it. But how often does that happen, just generally speaking, on the teams that you played for?
Well, the only time I ever saw it happen was mainly in the clubhouse. I mean, I'm not going to give any names, and it was maybe only a couple, 2 or 3 times in 13 years. So that's pretty good. But you got to remember, guys that got 6 weeks of spring training together, then 162 games together, and, you know, times people get a little bit irritated, and one small thing that's said could set them off. But the biggest majority of the time, whenever there was a disagreement, it was usually, you know, behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. Or the manager would call you in the office, and you basically just sit down and talk about it. But very rarely, like in the situation the other day in Baltimore, do you see a player going after a manager. And that's just, it's, you know, I don't think either one of those guys are probably proud of what happened. And they probably got together after the game or the next day and sat down and talked about it. You know, unfortunately, you got grown men and you've got egos and you've got a long time together. So some of that stuff's not a real good combination some days.
Best manager you played for?
Oh, my gosh, I can't put my finger on that because I was so lucky. I played for 2 Hall of Fame managers in Sparky Anderson and Tony La Russa. I played for a Hall of Fame hitter in Frank Robinson. Mm-hmm. And then I think I played for a guy that I believe that if he was still alive today, we lost him to a brain tumor, Johnny Oates down in Texas. I think he'd have been well on his way to the Hall of Fame as well. So Tony La Russa was probably the most organized manager as far as having a team prepared, not only for that day, but for the following day. He would come up and say, hey, you're playing tomorrow, such and such pitching. I want you to start thinking about your plan against him. So I was really fortunate. And even going all the way back, I mean, playing for Coach Ward and Coach Holliday.
Yeah.
Dude, I was lucky in every regard as far as the people that I had a chance to play for.
Coming out of Southeast High School, could you envision
John
this?
Dewhurst.
My goodness.
John Dewhurst. And he had Darryl Porter and Bobby Mercer before me.
Yeah, I know it. And people don't remember that, I don't think, that you know, they don't turn out that kind of product now, and there's reasons for that. I mean, they don't have the same kind of program funds and all that. However, you know, when you talk about yourself and the 2 that you just mentioned, out of one school, there was a time when Southeast was ruling the roost on the prep ranks.
Oh, there's no question. And then I think, you know, most recently, and the most notable guy that's come out of there has been Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, right.
Defensive tackle down here at Oklahoma, and was with Tampa Bay for a while. I know he signed with somebody. I can't remember who it was for this year. But, you know, we've had some fairly decent athletes come out of there.
How's your son doing? I'd be remiss if I didn't ask that.
He is doing terrific, loving every minute of it, having a wonderful time being back in gym shorts and out on the field. And they've got a chance to be really good, so he's very excited.
Now, he's coaching again. Just to remind our fans where he's coaching now.
Cleveland Brown.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he and Monken together, Mayfield together, all those guys, I guess, getting after it, and they look like they might have a halfway decent year. Last thing, I got to ask you this. When you, and I had some players tell me, you know, certainly when Matt and Josh were little kids running around Reynolds Stadium and getting in everybody's way and being thrown in laundry baskets and things like that just for fun. But
gently. They're thrown in there gently.
Yeah, and nowadays you wouldn't even say anything now. I mean, you're not going to throw Matt in anywhere. But how about Matt now joining the staff, and how proud will Tom be the first time he looks down? Not that he hadn't seen them before in a baseball environment together, but how about the first time he looks in that dugout and sees both of his sons in an Oklahoma State uniform?
I think it's phenomenal, and I think for those kids to have the opportunity to not only be around Josh and everything that he brings every day and the energy, and Tom as well, but to have Matt there now, I mean, it's just I think it's incredible for not only TH and his family, but for OSU baseball to have that type of knowledge there every day, and for those kids to be able to go to Matt now and kind of lean on him and ask him questions and get stuff from him. I think it's just a plus hire for OSU baseball.
Yeah, tremendous resource there. Hey, Mick, again, congratulations on your induction Monday night. Well-deserved, and you're in there with a bunch of real important people, so to speak, and you are as well. But I do appreciate you taking time to kind of shoot the breeze with us again today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Tommy. Anytime. You know that, man, and I appreciate it very much. Like I said, it was a lot of fun and a tremendous honor, and something I'll always remember.
Hey, we'll see you soon, and we'll be in touch, I guarantee you.
All right, pal. Take care.
Thank you, bud. See ya. Mickey Tettleton, one of the good guys that come through here, one of the best players we've ever had come through Oklahoma State, and certainly a big leaguer, 14, 15 years in the big leagues, and knows exactly what he's talking about, and doing some coaching down there at OCC, and who knows where it'll go from there.